say, okay, today is the 19th of May 2020. So basically, I've got 8 months and 3 days left with this lotto search. I'm getting my car fixed, which I can't really afford. So even though I don't care solely about the funds from this lotto, I'm still pursuing, answers as to why nobody bothered to contact my businesses, and especially the one that has a credit card statement. And legally, we still have 7 years of which to obtain the time of transaction, and the banks nor um, largely the banks still should keep that record, and so should the shop. So just rang a solicitor today to see if I can get a letter sent to the former shop owner to see if we can get through this credit card transaction the time on the shop ledger of the transaction, because that'll show when I'm in the store. So right now I'm actually going to ring Lotto, and this will just be someone at call centre. Let's see what happens. You never know. You get different answers every time you ring. So I'm holding. I've just clicked on. I'm not happy with the way something's been handled. Best way to get through. Oh, hi, Jackie. Um, I actually won a lotto ticket, and it has gone through, the lost lotto claim, and through, the Justice Department. But, like, I've got still 8 months and 3 days left before I can't claim. And, I have a few questions. I did write to public relations, but I haven't heard back from them. But, like, if Lotto or the lot were keen to reunite winners as they advertise with their money, um, why weren't my witnesses who were in the store with me ever checked as to the times of their transaction with me being in the store? Because that would counteract. See, when you do the claim and you can't remember the exact time, and you have to put in three supposed times, and then you get a generic letter saying your repeated attempts to change the date, time, and type of ticket. Now, I never tried to change the date. I couldn't remember the exact time, and I did make a mistake on the ticket. Like, perhaps, I know you're just at a probably call center, but perhaps Lotto should look at things like the what the person did, like, which square do they think they will, do they know that they put the winning um, markings on? Because I have a hell of a lot of evidence, but none of it was actually looked at by Lotto, nor was it looked at by the Justice Department. So yeah, that's pretty much my query. It's very hard to let something like that go when I know the prize is still unclaimed, and I see advertising about, like, the winner has not come forward when I've come forward years ago. and I've tried really hard, but that hasn't been matched by Lotto nor the Justice Department even bothering to contact my witnesses. Yeah, so yep, yep. My first name is Kathy or Kate, and it's Rado, and Kathy with a K. Rado. Yep. It's the 21st of 11th 61. Okay. It's 2350 Captain Cook Highway or Sheridan Street, Cairns, or it could be. Um, oh, actually, I've just. Yeah, I shouldn't have said that. Um, um, PO Box 673 North Cairns. Oh, do you? Oh, look, that's where my son lives now. Yep. Oh, okay. It could be 34 Aitken Avenue, Queenscliff. Yep. Just radocathy at hotmail.com. Oh, it could be mmillionaire123456 at gmail.com. That was my son's one. Yeah, he was the last person to get investigated. But the thing is that the investigator, we asked one question at the end, why was our witness not contacted? And it took a hell of a long time, and they gave us a hard time about that one question. And finally, they just said no. And it really, in terms of if it was a murder, that and someone that was using a card in the store at a certain time, you would actually look into that to solve the case. And this never happened with us. Yes, and a few days ago, because I do keep a lot of things, and we were moving at the time of buying that ticket, and my son had an accident. I have been going through my garage, which I haven't fully gone through, and on two occasions did I find tickets, but they were stuck on magazines because we get a lot of rain in Cairns, and actually it was cyclonic period that time that I bought the ticket. So what happened was I got a chemical engineer who claimed they could separate the ticket, but sent it back to me as pulp. So that was destroyed, even if it was the ticket. And a few days ago, I found another ticket, but so far, like I've got a conservator to look at it, but we haven't done that properly yet. But I'm thinking from the bottom of the ticket, it looks like I may have bought it from somewhere else. So I mean, I haven't stopped. So I just think if I do find the ticket, and the details that I've claimed all along are on there, and Lotto will then, like I will, you know, apart from claiming if I find the ticket, I will get Lotto to answer for why they didn't help me or tell me that I was doing things wrong when I know exactly what day I bought the ticket. It's very frustrating. I understand their process and their generic letters, but sometimes they're rather rude when they say to you, "Oh, you've repeated attempts to change things," when I haven't. I've just been, and my son was just going by course. But they try and it's like a brush off, you know. So like I'm just I'm getting worked up because I'm getting my car fixed today, which like I can barely afford, and I'm thinking, well, I've had this win for so long, and I've had so many details that haven't even been looked at, that could help, provide providence towards this win. And the details that, um, nobody, unless someone that was there doing the transaction, would know. Yeah. Yes, I made a claim under my name, but then because we, needed the investigation, and I always swore by that my son was in the store, and my son wasn't really interested. Like at first, he goes, "Oh, mum, that wasn't your ticket," and then he recalled because he'd had a big diving accident, and he just lost his skipper, and he went through really bad PTSD. That's why he moved from Queensland now. He's doing social work, but he did recall that day we were in the store finally, and then he said, "Yeah, mum, like just let it be." Because he was so he was unwell basically. So then he agreed to because you have to get your signatures JP signed and all that certified. Then he agreed to help me, and I did ring the investigator because it got back to the Justice Department again, and so they supposedly did the investigator. But what I found on their paperwork was that they didn't really investigate him. They just asked allowance for, this is from what I'm recording, that they just got confirmed that because I made a claim and he made a claim, they didn't really have to investigate it properly because they just used my claim info. And the fact that we had the witness, we'd found the witness, actually, we found two witnesses at that time, and that they were not, it's got on the Justice Department paperwork, witness and in the name of such and such, and then it's got flagged. They didn't even bother to contact, and those are the things that get me querying a lot. When I actually rang the Justice Department for our like freedom of information paperwork back, they didn't charge me. This really kind lady sent me everything back, and I'm really glad because I can see their end, that they didn't really bother with the investigation for my son. And I actually did tell the investigator, look, you realise my son's not really that into it, but my son is there because he was in the store, and we really need help to get this further. So they were aware of that, but it was my son writing to them. But that they seem to just dismiss my son's claim. Yet when it was my investigation, I think it was about 6 months into 2014, they said, "Oh, good luck, Kathy. You're the only person that got this far." So, look, I can tell you a lot about those things. Like even the investigator, like he was really chirpy with me, when we communicated. And a day before the investigation officially was meant to end, he gave me a phone call, and I still remember where I was. And sorry if I'm going on too much. I'll stop soon. I tend to go on a lot, but in a very okay, okay. In a very sheepish voice, he told me that the details I provided were vastly different with what Lotto had. But at that stage, he didn't even look to what Lotto had, because I always said to him, check my details with the database. But that didn't happen until I had an internal and external review and an ombudsman. And the ombudsman rang me up and said, "Kathy, why did I choose certain numbers?" And she said, "Kathy, you know what? It's not that we don't believe you, but there's not enough proof." But since then, I've got two witnesses, and a credit card statement of one of the witnesses is very good providence to place me in the store that time. Plus, there's a number of shops that I regularly go to, including the post office, which I hadn't provided affidavits from them, but I know people that would willingly write me affidavits they would write affidavits on my behalf saying that I frequented that shopping centre. The big problem we had was there was no surveillance in the whole of the store. So Yeah, so my evidence, my only evidence to place me in the store would be those shopkeepers writing me, affidavits. But the other thing is, I mean, you can't make this stuff up, honestly, And why would I bother if it wasn't my ticket that I remember, marking, and and I just didn't, make up my witnesses. I actually found one after 4 years and one after 5 years. So for someone that I don't know at all, for their husband to email me a credit card statement the day after I met this lady, that must show something, and that shows that her transaction was on the same date that I claimed. We even got a forensic accountant wrote me letters to banks and to you people as well, and I've got a history of both my witnesses playing, and on the actual draw that I purchased, they've got extensive playing histories, and it doesn't show because one lady, she might have used a husband's card on that day. It doesn't show the actual ticket purchased on their lotto cards, but again, she's got it on her credit card. But it does show that on the day that I bought the ticket and for the time that I first claimed, those people were regularly buying that very draw at that very same time. Like out of 80 times of them buying, 60 or 70 of those times would have been around the same time that I said. Yeah. So it's Misha and same last name. Oh, his claim was only a couple of years ago. See, this is what I think happened. This is what I think happened from what you're telling me, is that I've made a claim, and and they've told me to fix things, but then I've been written back that basically it's your fault for writing in too many times when I've been told to fix things, and people your end actually made mistakes. The Justice Department highlighted this too, is when you people were writing back to me, you would write my Monday lotto win when it was a Wednesday, which is, of course, technically it's Monday, Wednesday lotto, but we had to get those things fixed. So, I mean, that's the reason you were written to so many times. That's hardly my fault, but it was always made to be, the letters coming back, it looked like that it was our fault that we'd written so many times. And with regards to my son and Lotto, he must have gone through you people to have got to the Justice Department level as well. So you must have record of him. But what I feel, which is what the Justice Department did, is that you've looked at me and then you've seen my son and his details are just about the same. So you've just logged us in together. I don't know. This is just not what I'm thinking. Paul. Paul is my father. I have a father, Paul. Yeah. Yeah. No, my father has a player's card. My mother had a player's card. She's passed. Yeah. And my son hasn't. Oh, look, I wouldn't know where it is. I'm just on the phone now. I'm getting my car fixed, so I don't have all that with me. I'm just at a friend's house or a friend's place of business at the moment. Not really. No. Oh, it's. I don't know. Look, the name Michael Sarquis comes to me, but I don't think he's there anymore. It's Sarquis. But I mean, again, he might be from the Justice Department because I mean, this has been going on for 6 years. So, like I said, I've got no data on me to tell you. I've just rang you up to. probably air myself out, but just to highlight some things that I think are very important too, with regards to the claim. I, well, it sounds like I'm a mad woman, but it has made me, it has, depressed me a bit because when you're trying to prove something that happened, and it's like you're not taken seriously. So I appreciate all the time you've taken to listen to me. Actually, well, there was no one because whenever you ring this number, you understand you only get someone like at a section, like a call center. So, I mean, I've probably rang heaps of times over the years, especially in the beginning. And, there might have been someone called Trent, or there could have been, it's not like I've documented every time that I rang up. It's like calling the electricity department. You don't know who you're going to get, and most people in the beginning would have just said fill out a lost lotto claim. That they won't talk to you any more than that. So yeah, so you've probably talked to me the most of the whole 6 years. Yeah, yeah. Look, it's just that I understand Lotto don't have to pay this out, but like I said, if I did find the ticket and the details I've given are correct, they would have a lot to answer for. And now my son's somewhat better, and my mum was sick for a while, and I focused on that. But now I'm focusing on having a look to see if I actually still have the ticket somewhere when I thought I'd lost it. So but even still, I really feel like if any investigators would have looked at, for example, and the biggest thing is my witness with the provenance of the credit card statement, would show the time of transaction still somewhere. Then I already know 100% or more that I know the date of purchase, I know the time of purchase, and the other thing is, like, I may not know exactly how many squares I marked. I know it was only a small amount, but I know I made a mistake. I know there was an E for edit on the ticket, and I know exactly which square the winning numbers were in. So I think that should be enough, you know, for anyone to be matched with a database and be corrected or not, because nobody else would know those details. Yeah, of course. And so then, you can seek, further assistance from, you contact the Justice Department and they choose to investigate or not. And of course, they investigated. So I know that I must have got some details right. And I know it's very confidential, and they probably don't know themselves what the very details of the ticket were. But again, it's like you're being in school or uni, and you might get two variables right. This is what the forensic accountant told me. He actually said to me, Lotto make it very hard for anyone to actually prove it, because if you get two variables right and one variable wrong, that's not two-thirds right. That is, you're wrong. And then you have to go to the next or second of your goes, or the third of your goes, and then like when you're trying to remember a time in a 15-minute interval, and you're not checking your time when you're buying a ticket. Of course, it's very hard to miss the exact time. So I'm saying now I actually have a witness, and under statute of limitations, like the time of her transaction still exists, and she can confirm I was in the store with her at that time. Now I only found her after the fourth year, And I put flyers around cars in the shopping centre on the very day that I bought the ticket. And at 9:20 the next morning, and I quizzed this lady, and I've seen her Facebook, and I've met with her now, and I know that she was the other lady that was in the store with me. But the unfortunate thing about this other lady that is that her husband, ex-husband, is now incarcerated, and it had she bought on his card. So she's not really a great witness for me in terms of providence, but she remembers me that day. So it's very strange that in a whole town that I for one can remember the people that were in the store that day. I don't normally do that. And then I found them, like they could have been tourists, but actually where I bought the ticket was not really a Cairns tourist spot. It's a little bit out of the CBD. But the fact that I found them, I was getting my hopes up because I didn't make these people up. One of them actually can show a credit card statement showing that she made a transaction of $13.85 that day. The only thing is, like, we've been, trying to ascertain the time, and that's really hard. Yeah, so sorry, I'm going on a lot, but now you've got the full story. I bought a ticket, lost it. Um, I've been trying to prove my innocence as such, and I've had people help me along the way, and some people help me, and then they say they can't help me anymore. Like the forensic accountant guy said to me that had I should have approached the store, which is now shut, but they still should have their records, and with the lady's credit card statement, and on the store's ledger, they should be able to see that credit card transaction for buying lotto, and then mine was at the same counter. So then the winning ticket would be right next to that lady's credit card statement. So, like, honestly, if it was some criminal investigation, it would have been solved by now. But because it's to do with money, this is what I feel like. Lotto don't really want to pay it out. And I understand that this particular draw actually just goes back to future advertising. And this Wednesday Lotto, because I've done a hell of a lot of research. And also it goes to future draws. So, I mean, they've made a lot of money on my win lotto now because the win plus the interest is huge. So, anyway, I don't know what else to say, really. No, it's not because there's a statute of limitations of 7 years. So, oh, I get you. I get you. Oh, well, it would have been seven. I mean, not seven. Well, it's not 7 years, but it would have been, 6 years and 5 years ago, probably. Yeah, maybe I should just start a new claim again, but I don't know if that's allowed in the lotto rules. Seeing as you don't have my other data, which is quite important. Yeah, thank you, Theo. Oh, yeah, thanks. I'm just saying thanks to my friend who's sitting listening to me. I get out. Sorry. Sorry, Dad. I done a spit. Oh, that's okay, Laura. Is it Laura? Oh, Jackie. Sorry, I was talking to Laura, solicitor, just before. Sorry. Yeah. Really? Oh, look, I'm nearly in tears. Yeah, because if the details I give with the witnesses, that should help me. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll do. Hey, thank you so much. Because are you really sure on that? Because in the beginning, like as far because I read the Lotteries Act, I even saw that they had resubmitted the Lotteries Act the day that the um, Justice Department were investigating me. So that's how far I went into it. And I believe that you only get three chances. You know, no, no, I've submitted three times. Yep. Okay. Yeah, it's just ticking those boxes. I mean, the only variable I know is the time. I mean, not the time, the date, but the time is still dependent on. To me, I'm linked in with that lady because the only providence is her credit card statement. So this is the trouble. Like Lotto, do you have solicitors that could help ascertain the time from a store? Yeah, and I was hoping there was some footage that I know it's not privy to me because it's not a criminal matter or a police thing, but perhaps the store had some footage that Lotto may have access to, and that would be a great link as well. But I don't think that's anyway. You've been very helpful, Jackie. Okay, so I'm allowed to resubmit a claim. I hope you're pretty certain on that. Yeah, because I don't want to write in and they say, your repeated attempts will falsify the claim. Like it's like a kick in the teeth. Especially that you don't have the details of me or nor my son either. Jesus, they probably just thought that the money was going to go back into the lot. I think because nobody else apart from me, and I've had so much trouble, would be able to claim this. When you've done something that you know. I mean, honestly, if I'd lost the ticket and someone had picked it up and found it, I'd still be jumping up and down because I'd know it was my ticket, and that would be a hard one to prove. But I know no one else will know the details that I know, and I know I tried to tell myself they weren't my numbers, but I just went through it so many times, and I remember picking those numbers for the reasons I did. Okay. Oh, Jackie, thank you. All right. Would you be able to send me the forms online to my email address? Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Oh, thanks. You've been really lovely. You've put my faith. I mean, who knows if it's going to happen or not, but it did happen. And you've put my faith back in lotto at the moment. Okay, thank you. You too. Thanks. Bye. They're letting me resubmit a claim. And I got that all on record because I've copied that all.